Hi everybody, welcome back to our 7th and final instalment of the AUSA hustings. I'm here with Genna Clarke, who is running to be your next student president. Genna is currently the president for Welfare and Equal Opportunities here at AUSA, and she's going to tell you a little bit today about why she wants to be your next student president. So what I'll do is I will just ask Genna some general questions. I'll give her a quick chance to tell you a little bit about herself. We'll then move on to some more remit-specific questions before eventually we pull a couple of questions from our Twitter feed. You're more than welcome to tweet in your questions and engage in the conversation online using the hashtag AUSA elections. And we would really welcome your feedback and questions for Genna as we're going through the hustings. So Genna, let's get started. I'll give you about 90 seconds just to tell students a little bit about yourself, about your experiences, your policies, and why they should vote for you as the next student president.
Hi, so as Jenny said, I'm Genna Clarke and I'm currently the president for Welfare and Equal Opportunities, but in this round of elections, I'll be running for student president. I absolutely love my job, and I feel like as student president, I'll be able to keep moving forwards with improving the lives of students and continue some of the great work we've done this year, especially with our priority campaign in equality and diversity. So I really feel like this year I've shown that I listen to what you want. At the beginning of the year, I ran a student safety survey, and following the feedback, I've worked closely with the sports union to set up our first self-defence classes, which we're continuing with next year, so there's still an opportunity for you to get involved. I've also worked with campus security to have the emergency and non-emergency numbers on the back of all student cards, along with the nightline number, which means that when we're not here from 9 to 5 or whenever, then you're still supported. As well as this, I've secured funding to run a campaign against harassment, which can be an underlying cause for some people not feeling safe, and that's going to be launching in September, which is really exciting. These are just a few examples of the work I've brought you this year, and to give you an insight into what I hope to do next year, which is working to improve your union and supporting you, and also improving your safety.
Perfect, thank you very much, Genna. So now what we'll do is we'll just move to a couple of questions that have been asked by students earlier today on campus. So Genna, the first question comes from Katya. She's a second-year theology student, and she asks, how will you inform students about changes in the building, and how can they get involved in the new building process?
Okay, well, we're holding lots of meetings for students to get involved. We've made sure that our forums are included. So those are our equal opportunities forums, including our race and ethnicity forum, our disabled students forum, our women's forum, and our LGBTQ forum, as well as the other liberation forums. And we're hoping to make sure that we are representing all students. We're using different methods of getting in contact with you guys. So we had our building survey, which had a really big response. We're really happy with that. And we're fairly confident that we are representing what students want within the new building. We're consulting societies and sports clubs and finding out what space you guys really need. And I've forgotten the other part of the question, sorry.
That's all right. How will you get students involved? So how will you inform students about changes in the building, and how can they get involved in that process?
Okay, well, I'm hoping to have a big kind of like, we're moving, and the big opening of the new building, which we're based over at Crombie. So you guys will know where we are, and we'll make sure that we've got events going on in there, and we're also coming out to you guys and letting you know what our plans are.
Perfect, thank you, Genna, that's great. And a second question comes from Ilma. She's a first-year student, and a similar question has been asked by Nuala on our Twitter feed. And they ask, how are you going to secure better funding for EU students?
Well, I'm actually, with the internationalisation strategy that the university are putting in place, I've already been asking in meetings how they're going to better support them, especially financially, because it is a concern. A lot of international students don't have much access to funds from the university. It's about £50 to £200, and that's per year. So as you know, in Aberdeen, that doesn't even cover half a month's rent. So it's something that is high on my agenda. It wasn't on my manifesto, but it's something I am speaking with the university about, and I will keep bringing it up.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Genna. And for those that are watching online and students who are interested in talking to Genna about her manifesto, please keep tweeting in your questions using the hashtag AUSA elections, and then we can keep the conversation moving as we're going through this interview. So the next question, Genna, comes from Kirsten. She's a first-year student, and she asks, student accommodation is really expensive. How are you going to ensure that accommodation in Aberdeen remains affordable?
Okay, well, we're already trying to work with the university to ensure that the accommodation fees don't go up too much, but obviously this isn't within our control because we don't control the university's accommodation. However, we are working to set up a tenants union, student tenants union, which Dom, the current president for Ethics and Environment, and myself are working on. We've got our first meeting next week, so that's really exciting. So we're hoping that will have a direct impact on the fees that you'll be paying for your accommodation.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Genna. And now we will move on to a more remit-specific question. So Genna's had a little bit of time to think about this in advance. So Genna, tell us, how will you ensure Aberdeen student voices are considered in both the general elections and in the Scottish Parliament elections?
Okay, well, I don't think that students necessarily know how important their vote is. So just to give you an idea, voter turnout in the 2012 election was 44% of students, which compared to over 65s is they had a 74% turnout, which means that the politicians will be considering what they want to see more than they're considering what students want to see. So what we really need to do is make sure that our voice is too loud to be ignored and that we are asking politicians for what we want and getting involved, because if we don't get involved, then they're not going to listen to us. So I think it's really important to highlight to students how low the turnout is at the moment, and hopefully get some of that feeling around the referendum where almost everybody had a vote, and it was really fantastic.
Perfect, thank you, Genna, that's great. And as I've said, thank you to everybody that's tweeting in. We're getting in some great questions, which is brilliant. And now, Genna, I know you've had a little bit of time to think about this because we've asked all candidates the same question. But Genna, can you tell us a little bit about what you see as being the biggest challenges in this role as student president?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges coming up for us will be the big move to a new building. We'll need to make sure students know where we are, how they can get in touch with us and how we can support them. Because obviously all of our services will still be there. We'll still have our student advice centre. It'll just be in a different place. But I think one of the biggest challenges is actually the things that we don't see coming. So, for example, this year with the accommodation crisis, a lot of people won't know, but about a month of our time was spent helping students who we hadn't anticipated we would need to help. It wasn't an issue helping them. It was really good actually to get students involved, but we didn't anticipate that. And I had a really stressful 2 weeks trying to rehome our Nightline service, which wasn't the easiest thing. And it does detract away from the things you've got written down on your manifesto. And I think that a lot of people don't realise there's a lot more to our jobs than just the things we write on our manifestos.
Perfect, great answers, Genna. Thank you very much. And now what we'll do is we'll just pull a couple of questions off the Twitter feed. So if you do have any questions for Genna, tweet them in now using the hashtag AUSA elections. So the first question comes from Hannah, and she asks, why do you think there's been very few candidates for these elections?
I think maybe we didn't push it enough on campus. Unfortunately, some of the materials wasn't there in time, so we just didn't have that chance. But I feel like we did actually do quite a lot to try and encourage people to run. We held workshops specifically for women in leadership, and we had our disabled women in leadership, we had LGBT women in leadership, our Black women in leadership, Muslim women in leadership, and our general women in leadership workshop, as well as Veronica's Leadership Academy, which we really hoped would encourage more people to run. It's something we're going to have to look into more for next year and ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Perfect. And on a similar subject, there's a couple of Twitter users that are asking, why did you run for president and didn't rerun for welfare? So what made you decide to move from one role to the next?
I guess it was a challenge. I love a challenge, and I feel like I love my job as welfare and equal ops, but I thought I could do more. I could push myself a bit further, and I'm not one to shy away from a challenge. So yeah, I thought I'd take it on, and I think I'm the right person for the job. So
brilliant. And the final question, we've got some great conversation coming through on the Twitter feed. So the last question, Genna, that we'll take from Twitter comes from Anna, and she asks, what will be the first thing that you do after you get elected as student president?
Well, I'll get elected hopefully in a few weeks, so I'll probably go back to my job and make sure I deliver on the promises that I set out in my manifesto for this year. So I can't forget my job at the moment. But yeah.
Perfect, thank you. That's been brilliant, Genna. It's been wonderful to talk to you tonight. And if you could just finally give us some closing remarks, tell the viewers and the students why they should vote for you as the next student president.
Well, despite the fact that I am running unopposed, I truly feel that I am the right person for this job. I've spent a lot of time talking to students and figuring out from them what they want to see on my agenda, and I really feel like I've put together a solid manifesto which is achievable and representative of what students want to see. And I really think I can deliver on my promises. So have faith in me, vote Genna Clarke #1 for student president, and check out my full manifesto online.
Perfect, that's great. Thank you very much, Genna. It's been really great to chat to you tonight. If you are interested in chatting a bit more to Genna online, you can still tweet in questions using the hashtag AUSA elections. And similarly, as Genna said, you can go online to the AUSA website and view her full manifesto on there. That's the close of this year's hustings for the candidates. So please go and check out some of our other videos, and that gives you a chance to challenge the views of the candidates and to scrutinise their policies. Similarly, you can check out all of the manifestos online, and you can tweet the candidates using the hashtag. Voting will take place from the 10th till the 12th of March, and that's your chance to have your say as to who you think should be running your Students' Association next year. But that's everything for tonight, and thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you during the voting period later in March. Thank you very much.